Ministerial review. I commend this bill to the House.
Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, I'd like to just touch for a moment on the last point the former Speaker made, and that was about a ministerial review and that ECAN would be looked at. Part 2, of course, its governance, its membership. The problem with that is we can't believe these people anymore. We can't believe the government anymore because they told us prior to the last election, cast iron guarantee from Nick Smith, that there would be an election on schedule this year. Now they say that's delayed some years out, democracy denied yet again, and now we sort of get all excited. We get all excited, and sort of, isn't it all lovely, says Ms Wagner. We're all excited about a ministerial review. Isn't it going to be wonderful? The problem Ms Wagner's got is nobody believes her. Nobody believes this government because the people of Canterbury were lied to. They were lied to. They were told that they would have an election and they were lied to. And that crew over there, Ms Wagner included, broke her promise to the people of Christchurch Central, broke her promise to the people of Canterbury, and now they talk about a governance review. Well, I have to say to Ms Wagner, no one believes you, through you, sir. No one believes you and believes the intent of this legislation. They don't believe that there will be a positive outcome of a review. They don't even believe that there will be elections on schedule as scheduled in this piece of genius work, which was of course introduced to the House after the last election. And that's where we get to the rub, because this crew are very, very good at talking about mandates. There ain't a mandate for this. They couldn't prove there was a mandate right through the debate. Right through the debate, Ms Wagner claimed that there was overwhelming support of Canterbury. And at every stage we pointed out to Ms Wagner that there were 5 submissions in support of this bill and 90 submissions against it. She cited Ngāi Tahu, eminent organisation. She cited Federated Farmers, National Party and Gumboots. She cited Local Government New Zealand, really grassroots organisation, and there were 2 others that were irrigators, 5 submitters who were in favour of this bill and 90 submitters who were against it. And there is absolutely no mandate introduced after the last election. The people of Canterbury lied to again, and this government stands up, and the best they can do is put up daisy chain and say, isn't it all exciting? Isn't it all wonderful? Isn't it all fantastic? Well, I say to Ms Wagner, as she polled her electorate in the last 2 weeks, I asked her this question. I wonder if she polled her electorate and asked them about this legislation, and also asked them about Phillipstown School and what she said and the promises she made to that school, which she went back on, the promises she made in terms of representation to Phillipstown School, which she never delivered on, and the fact that she never ever said to that school that she'd back them to the hilt and fight to keep them open. I wonder if she polled on that. Because the people of Canterbury, let's be very, very clear about it, have been lied to and lied to again with this piece of legislation. Nick Smith made a cast iron promise. Come hell or high water, there would be an election. That was a broken promise. Oh, when was that election? Well, it was supposed to be later this year, Mr Little, as you'd be aware, later this year. And the point that I made time and colleagues have made throughout this debate is, why is it that the government refuses to have faith in the people of Canterbury, its leadership and its community, to draw from itself sound men and women and sound leaders to represent it? Why do they have no faith? Why does Ms Wagner think in Christchurch Central there's no one good enough, smart enough or intelligent enough to lead our region as an elected person in ECAN? Why does Ms Wagner think that an unelected, unaccountable set of commissioners installed by her and her ilk, who are accountable to no one in Canterbury apart from the Boffins and her colleagues in Wellington, why does she think that is appropriate? And why does she think there's nobody with leadership qualities in Canterbury who could lead our region and contribute to it? I say, Mr Speaker, the reason is this. The reason is because this crew do not want an elected ECAN this year, because that will provide another platform for the Canterbury community to stand up and elect leaders and men and women who might turn round to Ms Wagner, Jerry Brownlee, Amy Adams, Kate Wilkinson and anybody else who sort of imposes their will down there and say, I'm sorry, National Government, we disagree with you. Because they don't like listening to people who disagree with them. They love listening to yes men and women. So if they don't have an election, they'll have their puppets as commissioners, unaccountable to anyone in Canterbury, without a mandate, who will do their bidding, nod quite sweetly, and do what they're told as they're patted on the head. As they're patted on the head. Do what Ms Wagner and Jerry Brownlee say, no opposition. And here's the problem in a practical sense in the communities you have. There used to be a time, Joe Kane was a commissioner in ECAN, good local person in an area in which I live, great person. You could ring Joe up and you could say, one of the ratepayers has got a problem, Joe. You're elected, we need you to help to sort it out. And she'd do her level best to do it, and she'd get back, and she was accountable, and even if she couldn't deliver, she would be accountable to that community. Now what happens is the puppets that the National Party have put in place, the commissioners who are not responsible, as Joe Kane was, to her electors in her region, you can't find them, you can't get hold of them, and by the way, there's no motivation on their side of the fence to engage in those practical solutions that community needs. But in fairness to the commissioners, their paymasters are not the people of Canterbury. Their paymasters who dictate to them sit on those benches over there. Their paymasters are the ones who lied to the people of Canterbury, promised them an election this year, lied to them, broke that promise, and now dress it up in all Nikki Wagner's sort of fine words about how excited she is and how wonderful it is because we're going to have a governance review. When is it? In 2014 or March 2014. Well, as I said at the start of the speech, no one believes Nikki Wagner that review will involve the community because there's no guarantee in this legislation that the community will be involved in that review. No one believes her. No one believes Amy Adams. No one believes Jerry Brownlee or Kate Wilkinson that they will get their authority to have an election back as scheduled in this extension bill. These people over here have no credibility. The once great National Party, who in theory, in their own eyes, with their own ideology, believe in free markets, freedom of choice, freedom of expression, and presumably freedom of democracy. Well, I wonder what old Kiwi Keith Holyoake would say about this crew over here. Because the only motivation behind keeping the vote away from the people of Canterbury is to deny them the opportunity, one, to elect leaders to represent them, and two, to deny those leaders the opportunity with a mandate to voice opposition to some of the things that this crew are doing in Christchurch. And Barney Marama, very good point, very good point. Touches Zimbabwe as well, I suspect, as well. Although even in Zimbabwe, they get a vote now. They never used to, but they got a vote. But not this crew, not this crew. Not this crew. What was the interjection over there? Well, I say to Sam Littleinga, at least in Auckland, that member and his constituency in Mangakiki actually get a say. They had a vote, they get a say, they're allowed to, and he defended that mandate, I'm sure. They get 2 says, they get 2 votes, they're allowed to have a crack. But these guys do not, they want to crush any opposition, not even opposition. They want to crush the ability of people to stand up and say, we respectfully disagree with this government. We believe there is a better way for our province. We believe that we should not be bullied, steamrolled or bulldozed by Jerry Brownlee, Ms Wagner, Ms Wilkinson and Amy Adams. We want to be part of our community. We want to elect leaders, fine men and women in Canterbury, who are not substandard, who are intelligent, who are community leaders and are damn well good enough to lead our province. But Nikki Wagner, don't forget old, what's-his-face, Aaron Gilmore, they think they know best. They have no faith in the people of Canterbury and those community leaders. And at a time also when we have a dysfunctional Christchurch City Council, sort of the Mayor and Jerry Brownlee, the sort of human buttresses, at each other's throats, can't agree on most things. We need a functioning local government down here. And I say to these crew, remember and rue this day, because this was the day the national government and the National Party members of Canterbury lied and lied again to the people of Christchurch and Canterbury province.
Eugenie Sage.
profoundly sad and shameful